Hey everyone, welcome back to my studio and for the Whole Artist Mastery Studio Short. This is about just sort of studio practices, cleaning, taking care of your tools and your materials, and what I have found to be most useful and helpful over the years that I want to pass along. So right now we're going to talk about cleaning brushes, our favorite thing to do, right? So I'm going to turn the attention to the palette. And after my last session, I neglected to spray the surface and clean it with glass cleaner. So I'm going to do that right now. After scraping off the paint, I take a paper towel and just wipe away the extra paint. And good to go. So here's how I do this. First of all, I have some brushes soaking. So here is the Turpenoid Natural. So this is the first thing that I use for cleaning my brushes. There are lots of different products out there. I like this one best because it's non-toxic, but it also has a conditioner in it. So it conditions your bristles. And I try to use as many non-toxic products as possible. And so this is the one that I've chosen for cleaning brushes. A lot of people use soap. I was using something called Brush Flush for a long time. It broke my bristles. They got too brittle because there wasn't a conditioner in the soap. So that's the key thing to having this be so good. I have many different ball jars. I find that they're best for holding my brushes as well as soaking my brushes. And over the years, I found that the wide mouth ones are more useful than the narrow mouth ones. What I'm now doing is recycling my Turpenoid. So I pour all of my silt, the leftover stuff from these jars, into one jar and let it sit for a few days, and it all settles to the bottom. So I can pour this out in the jar and keep recycling it. And so until it's no longer recyclable, and then I put a lid on it and store it in my studio. And so the way I clean the bottom of this is I take a paper towel so that when I pour the Turpenoid Natural into it, it doesn't stir back up into it. Stick the paper towel into the jar here, and then I just take the brush handle and push this around, trying to get all of the stuff in the bottom, and pull out the towel. You can see that it's covered with the stuff, and I think I might just go back in there and do it again to get it a little bit cleaner. But that should do it there. Let me see if you can see inside. It's clean enough. It's not going to wash into the Turpenoid that I'm going to pour into it. So now I'm going to take this, and good. It's important to keep it covered for safety reasons, and just pour. You can see it's clear enough. And you don't want it to be too deep, just deep enough to cover the bristles. And then stick your brush in. Kind of push it around a little bit. And I would say that the shortest amount of time you should leave it in there is probably an hour or so. I have been known to leave them in there for 4 or 5 days. I would say that's probably less good for the brushes, but my studio is not near where I live, so a lot of you paint in the same place that you live, so it's much easier for you to get back to cleaning the brushes. But seriously, they seem to be okay, even if you leave it in for several days. So then what I do is when it's time to clean them, and I have these have been sitting here for, I don't know, 2 days, and I will take it out like this and scrape off as much of the paint as possible, and take a paper towel and squeeze out as much of the paint and terpenoid as possible. So it's like this. Now, if you're really in a pinch and you are wanting to get painting right away and this is the only brush you have, you can probably paint at this point, maybe using another paper towel to get the paint out. Doing that. And that's pretty clean. But sometimes there are certain colors that are much harder to get out. So this is the soap that I then take the brush out of the terpenoid and get a tub of the Masters brush cleaner. A lot of you probably know this, and preserver. So when you wash your brushes in this soap, it also has a conditioner in it. And I get a tub because I have big brushes, and I'm about halfway through like this. So I just take this and whoosh the brush around in it, and then run this under water and rinse it out. And now you're good to go. So the great thing about this is that I'm rarely with time to clean up when I'm finished painting. I'm usually dashing off to get home or have another video conference with somebody. So I just dunk the brushes in and clean them the next day or 2 days later or whatever, and they're really fine. So that allows you to work to the very end instead of saving 15, 20 minutes at the end of your time if you're really into your work. When you come back, get in the habit of cleaning them as soon as you get into the studio, because if you're going to run them under water, you want them to be drier when you do start painting with them. So if you don't have the time to let them dry, then don't run them underwater and just squeeze it out like I was doing with the paper towel, and you should be able to use the brush, unless, of course, it's been covered in Prussian blue or dioxazine purple or something really strong. You can't get the color out easily. So I hope this is helpful. If you have suggestions or questions, get in touch with me. Join WAM Wednesday and ask your questions then. And I look forward to seeing you next time. Thanks so much for watching.